Hey guys, on today's BV Talk Show, the topic we're covering is the best player that we've seen play live. And I'm assuming we're talking about actually playing against, not just going and watching an MLB game, but first-hand experience with that player. We all have some pretty cool stories. Taylor, you want to kick this one off?
Yeah, I'll start. So he's kind of been very relevant with the Mets, Pete Alonso. So I went to University of Connecticut out of college, and my freshman year we went and played Florida. And at the time they were not as good as they had been. They're kind of struggling to start the season, and I just remember Pete Alonso hit the ball really, really far with a metal bat, and I believe Anthony K was pitching. It was like the 9th inning, he had a game-tying home run off him, and Anthony K is also in the bigs right now with the Blue Jays. So I just remember seeing him launch balls with a metal bat, and it was pretty impressive, and he's still doing it right now.
That's pretty cool. I think my guy will be George Springer. We talked about this the other day on Verge's podcast. Shameless plug here. Verge is doing a really cool podcast about baseball cards. Check that one out too. But playing against Springer, I think I was 16, 17 years old, and I showed up to the field that day, and we didn't wear stirrups. We had the high socks going, but he was wearing stirrups that day, and me and my teammates were from Stanford. We all think we're so tough, and we're looking at him like, who's this kid wearing stirrups? He proceeded to torch us the entire day. He hit balls all over the place, taking hits away, just an absolute monster. And then after that, we all agreed, like, okay, none of us are allowed to wear stirrups until we elevate our game. And obviously now he's George Springer, so that's pretty cool for me. How about you?
Wicked hit.
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to be around some pretty special people as a player and as a coach. I think probably the best pure hitter, most impressive guy I ever saw hit. I didn't get to see him play in game or with him, but in cages, batting practice.
Lou.
Justin Vergelac.
Yeah.
One of the best pure hitters we've ever seen. Our producer here.
Absolutely.
Knocking stuff over. You mentioned Lou. Lou's absolutely. Lou Retman, University of Tampa, one semester.
Boy could hit.
Boy could hit. Lou's a sweet swinging left-handed hitter. I think I got schools right. He led the country in junior college home runs in Quinsigamma the year before he came back. He started in Eckerd, transferred back, and Brian Sabian, my assistant coach, brought him down to Tampa. And yeah, Lou could really hit. But I'll talk about a few other guys, but I think the best player that I ever played with, hands down, and one of the greatest teammates, not that Lou wasn't a great teammate too, was Kirby Puckett,
Yeah.
Hall of Famer. Got the chance to play with him in single A ball in California, by Visalia, California. Actually, we lockered right next to each other. He hit the ball so hard. He was so smooth out in the outfield, or had a hose. Everything about his game. He's a Hall of Famer. We've all seen highlights of him. But the thing that was best about him, he was such a tremendous teammate. He was by far the best player in the Cal League that year. But he made everybody on our team feel like we were so great. So I'm hitting 250, 260. He's hitting 370, 390, lighting up the league. And my nickname to him was Scald, as in hot, because I was so hot at times and hitting the ball so hard. You're not that hot when you're hitting 250, 260. You're hot when you're hitting 390. But everybody on the team, he lifted everybody up on the team every day, consistent, high energy, good guy, played his butt off, and obviously produced at an incredible level. Several guys on that team that year, Steve Lombardozzi was our shortstop, and actually was probably a hit away from being the MVP of the World Series at second base the year they won it. He had an awesome World Series. And playing in the Cal League, I know for sure the toughest pitcher I ever faced, one bat for sure, was Mark Langston. And I'm old, so a lot of you might not know these guys. But
Get your Googles out.
Mark Langston was a left-handed pitcher from Mariners. I ran into him in Double-A, and man, he had a nasty changeup. He threw me a changeup, and like I swung, and like it was still coming. I was down and waiting, and it was still coming. Struggled against him. But then I got to think about all the players when I was over in Japan. A lot of great Japanese players. My first game coaching in Japan, Daisuke was on the mound for the Seibu Lions. Our last year in Japan, Tanaka was pitching against us for the Eagles. And then I gotta mention Benny Agbayani, great friend, and Benny was a hell of a player and had a great run over there and did well here. Didn't hand any balls to the
Shinchu, who was the one who came over in the first game and he broke his leg in the United States?
No, Nishioka, who was one of our Gold Glovers, a great young player that Bobby called up, and he came over to play for the Twins, and me and my two boys went down to Yankee Stadium to see him play, and unlike what normally happens in the States, he comes out of the dugout, waves to us, comes up at the stands, things are a little different, comes over with some bats for the boys, which was pretty cool. And unfortunately, in that game, he got taken out on a double play and broke his leg and was out for quite some time. But that's, I know we're not talking about this topic. Can I change topics for a second?
Of course.
So one of the big differences in American play and Japanese play is they're a little bit more respectful with taking players out on double plays and plays at the plate. Rules have changed here at the plate, but he was used to playing a little different around the bag as a second baseman and a shortstop because of the Japanese rules. I think it was Brett Gardner, not Brian Gardner. Brian, you would have taken him out 2 years ago. I think Brett Gardner took him out, and he just didn't have his leg in the right angle to absorb the blow and broke his leg.
Wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, it wasn't.
That's terrible.
So I'm sure as I'm talking, you've thought of possible other players.
Yeah, the one that I'm thinking about is Kirk Casale, who came in playing. I remember playing against him, and he came in high, and he was just a man amongst boys back then. We were all had a pretty good size and good athletes, but he was just a man. I will say Brian Demetrius, though, had him 0 for 4 that day, 3 Ks, lefty, kind of specialty, and got beat that day. But Kurt obviously went on to play. And who is he still? Is he still with the Reds right now? Mm-hmm. Awesome. That's for Roger Bolton. We gotta hook that up. That's a great idea.
Funny, Howard, you don't really know Springer well at all, right? But
no.
Just thinking about the guys, you just mentioned Casale, really good guy.
Yeah.
Puckett, great guy. Benny, great guy. And kind of, maybe there's something there, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome when you see that.
An arm that just stands out in my mind was, who's the Met Japanese outfielder for all those years? Who came back to Shinjo? Remember him?
No.
Yeah. He used to, when he came to the Mets, then went back when we were still in Japan, and as part of their infield outfield, because in Japan you take infield outfield, it's called shutenok, you take it every day. I have a good funny story about that, but two cool parts of this story is that the coach, when he would hit the last fly ball to Shinjo in center field to throw home, he would hit this, every time, hit this beautiful long fly ball to the fence that Shinjo would catch at the fence and throw an absolute laser on the fly to home every time. So the fungos are taken seriously in Japan.
Yeah.
The fungo was unbelievable, and then Shinjo's throws to the plate were
On that,
unbelievable.
Having that vision of what was that drill that you talk about that they would try to hit the bottom of the ball and hit it straight over the backstop, or what was the purpose of that?
Yeah, in Japan they practice a lot of different techniques, and they practice. I have another good story about that. I got a lot of stories. They used to practice hitting the bottom of the ball for backspin, for the ball to fly. And the guy that I remember the most, Fuki, we have a play named after him, Fukura, Kazuya Fukura, our first baseman, was so good at left-handed hitting. He would stand 10, maybe 15, probably like 10 feet from the big fence behind a major league, so it's just netting, it's not a fence, you just go straight up to the cables. He would stand 10 feet away, get a front toss, and hit the bottom of the ball so that it would go up over that fence and into the stands. Not like 1 out of 10, like 5, 7 out of 10.
Wow.
You trying to think about doing that.
Yeah.
It's insane.
We're just trying to make contact.
Yeah.
Trying to hit the right part of the ball.
So, different story, but Japan story about the Japanese work ethic is unbelievable. They work so hard. My first year in Japan, it's one of the first days of spring training. Did I tell this story before? I'm not sure. Regular spring training, just like here. You go out all day, break for lunch. Then after the regular day, you go for dinner, and then a select group of the younger guys, or maybe somebody that's working on something special, They go to the indoor facility to do another hour, hour and a half working on specific stuff, which, it's tremendous work ethic. We get back from the first or second night of the night practice, and I'm in Bobby's room at the hotel. We're talking about the next day, blah, 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 blah. He goes, okay, I got your first tough assignment for you as a new coach over here in Japan. I've been in Japan for a week in this hotel. I don't speak Japanese yet. I speak a little now. He says, go find the players. They're working out somewhere. So what do you mean, like they're lifting? He goes, no, they're hitting somewhere. I guarantee you they're hitting somewhere. I think he's kidding, Bobby likes to play games. So off I go. Wandering around the hotel, find my way down to the basement through the service elevator, in all the stores. I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble. I'm shopping that area. Get lost, not know how to get back. I'm wandering around everywhere, and people are seeing me, they're all just friendly and nobody's saying anything. Finally, I'm walking out in the back, I'm out past the dumpsters, a back end dark alley, and all of a sudden I hear, I follow the sound, and I get to a room maybe twice the size of this at most. What is this, 10 by 15? There's like 10 to 15 guys in there. Couple tees, front toss, and they're just hitting.
Hitting, like, was there netting in there?
Yeah, there was a net. They somehow rigged the net up and they're hitting.
And they were just getting their work in.
Yeah, just getting their work in at 10 o'clock at night after having worked all day.
To kind of go off that, when I was playing this past winter, when I was in California for that Winter League, they had a team from Japan. I don't know if I had mentioned this to you guys. I think I did briefly, but they had a team from Japan. And they had about 4 cages, right? And they were, it was amazing because their coach would tell us, he's like, listen, if you want to hit, these guys are going to be here every single day, morning and night. And I hit a lot. You guys know I hit too much half the time. But when I would go, every time we went, there would be 10 guys in the cage just doing different drills, rotating, and it was so awesome to kind of because they could speak, they spoke English well, some guys better than others, but it was cool to really communicate with them. But I kid you not, at 8 a.m. in the morning they were there, when we had a 1 o'clock game they were there, and then at night they would hit till the lights went out. So it's really cool to do that with them.
When Bobby was in Japan first stint, when I wasn't there, which in 95 or 96, he brought the Japanese team to Arizona for spring training for a week or two, which was a cool experience for them. And one night, probably early on, they were all out at the pool. All the pitchers were out at the pool, and Bobby claims the invention of the towel drill. That's when they started doing the towel drill.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. They needed a place to get reps.
They couldn't throw, it's dark, there's nuts, they're just
grabbing the towel.
doing the towel drill.
That's awesome.
A lot of stuff too I picked up just from chatting with them too, like different, mindsets and some of the drills they're doing I'd never seen. It was just really cool to kind of, I've never had an experience like that, so I enjoyed that a lot.
They take it seriously.
Yeah,
When I was there, my kids were growing up. They played for the town Little League, and they let Zach play, who was younger, so Frankie and Zach would go to practice. Every Saturday and Sunday, 2 teams would practice together. 5 hours. 30 coaches in uniform for 2 teams. Run just like a spring training. It's unbelievable.
That's amazing.
So they are so mechanically sound and so good at the techniques of baseball because they really, really work at it.
So
and you see over in
much
Japan, moms out in the park with their kids all day long.
They love it too, and that's why when people say, oh, I'm too tired to swing today or something like that, I just think about those where these guys are out here having so much fun and just getting better every chance they can. So.
And it goes back to kind of how we started this talk show today, talking about some of the most impressive players we played with.
Absolutely.
And that's Pete Alonso. We just put up a post the other day and him, talking about that aspect as well. And wow, first fumbleitis. Awesome, fantastic. I'm trying to wrap this up, but I'm struggling through it, so I'm going to do that now.
I keep saying this every time you go to wrap it up.
Well, so Verge gave me that with the high sign a couple minutes ago, and we're trying to get through this. But you guys are
another player.
We're going to talk about that in the next talk show with Bobby V's.